Hi, 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 ho! Welcome to Comics Tuesday. I'm going to start off today by telling you about The Dark Knight Returns. It was written and penciled by Frank Miller. And the story of it is pretty much Batman's old, Batman fights mutants, Batman fights Superman. Oh yeah, there's a girl Robin. The end. Did that not grab you? Did it not sound like the amazing story that it is? Well, there's a reason for that. I gave you very little detail when the story itself gives you so much. And that's Frank Miller's genius. He gives you the words to put you into Batman's skull, but at the same time his penciling work is showing you every detail, so you're getting the double whammy. And today I'm going to be talking about the art that does that. I think that without a doubt the best thing you can do as a comic book artist is tell me the story with the pictures. And I think step one, how you do that, is you use the center of the story, use the main character. You define this character for us visually. And so I'm going to look at this through the lens of my favorite character, Spider-Man. And so you have Steve Ditko, who first drew Spider-Man, gave him that awesome costume, has Peter Parker looking all geeky and meek, and has Spider-Man going around and just whooping so much ass, you know? So if you look at those pictures that Ditko drew, you immediately have some understanding of who Spider-Man is. And that was the really artistic thing. And then people who came along later just did the same thing, keep reinventing them. They give their own versions of it, but still, you can look and you get who Spider-Man is. You've got my favorite Spider-Man artist, John Romita, and he built right on top of what Ditko did. His Spider-Man is just drawn like he's moving around and he's in so many interesting flexible positions. You know, you can really see the way that Spider-Man's fighting the bad guys. And then he's got those eyes that, if it wasn't the start of the really expressive Spider-Man eyes, it's the one that I most associate with it. But everything from shock to anger, stuff that makes absolutely no sense in the context of actually wearing a costume. But I forgive it because it really works. And so, coincidentally, or not so much, you also have John Romita Jr., who did all the same things as his father did with Spider-Man. He's got this fast, flexible Spider-Man there on the page, being really expressive and physically giving you an idea of how powerful Spider-Man is. But the really interesting thing is it looks nothing like Romita Sr. Two totally different art styles achieving all the same goals. And then I can't forget about McFarlane. Todd McFarlane did a version of the same thing. He draws this exaggerated Spider-Man who's always swinging around in positions that look like they would hurt. His lines are so dark, it looks kind of creepy almost. And I think that's really unique. So it's everything that is Spider-Man turned up and up and up. That's why he's a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man artist. But not to be confused with Seth MacFarlane. That's different. And everybody gets one. And this whole line of great artists taking over Spider-Man and reinterpreting, have Humberto Ramos, who is an absolutely excellent artist, but his approach to Spider-Man is something I would have never thought of. The dude draws Spider-Man like he's about 15% Bugs Bunny. And I'm not kidding. Spider-Man always moves in ways that just don't look quite right, and that's a wonderful way to show it. Just have him look just a little, Warner Brothers cartoon. That's a couple aspects of it so far. You tell a story, you give us the character, and also, if you're going to be reading a comic book, it should matter that you're reading a comic book. So There's a lot to be said for artists who take advantage of their medium. And the example that I have for this is Steve Ditko again on Doctor Strange, filled to the gills with all these different colors and optical illusions, and the story they're telling you is so weird and out there. It's honestly enough to make you feel like you've stepped into a whole new world. So that's the basic structure. You use every inch of that page. You give us a character that we can relate to, and you tell a story that's worth reading. And so, as far as people who do that, I've got a short list of my favorite artists, especially in this scope. And I always have favorite artists for a character. Because if you match up a great character and a great artist, but they don't go well together, you might get some bad art. But on the other hand, you have my favorite Batman artist, Jim Lee. He can make Batman look like a fucking tank, or like he's coming out of the shadows lightning fast, and anything in between and more. And so it's always a treat to see Jim Lee drawing Batman. I mentioned Romita Sr. on Spider-Man. In my book, nothing's topped that. Ditko on Doctor Strange helped to build the character of Strange, and I think even redefine what a comic book can be. Alex Ross, he draws my favorite Superman ever in Kingdom Come. I've never in my life felt that Superman emotes so much, because it's like a lot of artists get so caught up in showing you power and the Man of Steel that they kind of paint themselves into a corner, and they have this blank slate face. And it's not all, but some do that. As I mentioned before, you can have a great artist matched up with a character that isn't right for them. You can have all sorts of outside sources affect the quality of art they have. So no one is 100% consistent, and no artist can be judged based on just one thing that they've done. Look at Rob Liefeld. You want to find a bad picture by him? It ain't hard. But that doesn't mean you can't find good pictures. I mean, that's the reason the guy works in the comic book business, because he is good, he's talented. But if you want to see it, I would go with pretty much any of his X-Men stuff. The stuff with Onslaught, like the X-Force when Deadpool's first introduced. Everything's just so big and angular. It has so much attitude, it's just bleeding off the page at you. So I couldn't disparage that at all. And I mentioned just a minute ago Alex Ross and how great that Superman is. And after he did Kingdom Come, he was a much lusted after artist. And people liked his work too. So you start to see the guy all over the place. And I think it's very important that I note right here, I doubt that Alex Ross could turn in any bad work. But now that we've seen Kingdom Come, he goes over to Marvel and he's the artist on Earth X. And Earth X is a wonderful book. It's a very good story, well told. The art's pretty good. But if you put it up against Kingdom Come, it's just no contest. It just doesn't feel so artistically charged and inspired as Kingdom Come did, about artists just trying new things, trying to expand their wheelhouse. It's admirable. And an artist that absolutely does this is John Romita Jr. Now, impressively, at no point has his art looked a lot like his father. It just hasn't happened. But you have this trajectory in which he has multiple different styles. And I'm going to start from the one that I'm most familiar with, his Spider-Man art. It was spectacular and amazing and web of and adjectiveless. It was all really good. Then a few years later, you have him drawing World War Hulk. And that had a lot of good art in it too, but it was spotty. It was just a bit spotty, and a couple of points in that, the characters look like ass. Trying some new things. He's going here and there. It's possibly rushed because it was yet another stupid event. But after that, not only is Romita Jr. still out there and still, doing his thing, and you can see him expanding, especially his work on Superman. JR does a Superman that is a close second to Alex Ross in my book. So, to not only keep churning out work, but to try to so much to improve on it, my pants are off to the guy. That brings me up to another great indicator of a great artist, and that is consistency. You have multiple different things. You have, in continuity of work, the very challenging task of an artist picking up an ongoing series and having to try to, in some ways, match their predecessor. That's got to be a difficult task. And I think my favorite example of this is Sara Pichelli on Ultimate Spider-Man. And yes, I am aware that I'm talking about Spider-Man about 90% of the time. Forgive me. You had Mark Bagley drawing Ultimate Spider-Man from the start with Peter Parker, well past 100 issues, and even returns for the death of Peter Parker. So, you not only continue the series after that, but you introduce a new character, a new lead. Everyone from Gwen Stacy to Nick Fury to Aunt May to the Ultimates. That's the Avengers. And you have to draw all the old characters consistently, while at the same time introducing us to the new one, Miles. And I gotta say that she really pulls this off, and I'm impressed. And furthermore, on consistency, I'm going to talk about team books. You have, at the start of the Avengers, you have Jack Kirby. He's pretty much got these 5 or 6 different characters that he's all drawing their main series. All of a sudden, they're in a book together, and they all look just as good as they do in their own solo book. You follow the Avengers line into the modern day, and you have people like you. That's not you, but Lionel Yu. He's been across all the Avengers titles in recent years. And lots of other artists in the same situation. They're drawing their title, Avengers, and they want to give it their own style. And in doing so, they have to have all these different heroes and apply their style to all of them and make it look like they could commingle and be together. Have visual continuity with each other that still look more or less just like the characters in their solo books that all have different styles. It's mind-boggling. But that's just about it. I've talked to you about why I think good art is important, who I think does good art, but in the end, it's objective. Subjective. Everyone has their own opinions, and these are mine. So thank you for following along with me today. And now it's time for the viewer question of the week, which is, who's your favorite comic book artist? It can be the person that you think has the prettiest pictures, or the person that you think tells the best story. Tell me all about it down in the comment section below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next week on Comics Tuesday. And on the next Comics Tuesday, we're going to talk about who is the oldest superhero. Thanks for watching.